is the news on Esteem Radio Vision, Elisha. First, the headlines. Federal government orders banks, fintechs to remit VAT on service fees. Federal government also unveil agreement to end strikes, varsity closures. Aregbeshola's ally returns to APC in Osun. Eagles crash out on penalties to Morocco. Zelensky declares energy emergency as biting cold persists. Now the news in full. I am Chidima Abel. The federal government has directed all banks and fintechs to collect and remit 7.5% value-added tax on certain electronic banking services effective Monday, January 19, 2026, according to an email notice issued by payment platforms. The VAT will apply to electronic banking charges, including mobile money transfers, USSD transaction fees, and card issuance fees, according to an email notice on Wednesday shared with customers by MoneyPoint. For example, if a bank charges 100 naira to make a transfer, the 7.5% VAT will be applied to that service fee, not the money being sent. Other operators are expected to issue similar notice to their customers in the coming days. Services that will remain exempt include interest earned on deposit and savings, meaning customers will not pay tax on the returns from their account. The NRS, formerly known as the Federal Inland Revenue Service, has set the deadline to ensure that all commercial banks, microfinance banks, and electronic money operators comply with the collection and remittance requirements. The move is part of the government broader effort to standardize VAT collection on digital financial services and expand revenue generation amid Nigeria's growing digital economy. VAT on banking transactions is not entirely new. The NRS is now enforcing uniform collection rules across all platforms, ensuring compliance across the sector. The federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities on Wednesday unveiled a renegotiated agreement aimed at resolving long-standing disputes in Nigeria's tertiary education sector, resulting in incessant strikes and closure of universities. The 2025 agreement is the conclusion of a renegotiation process that began in 2017 to review the 2009 federal government ASO Pact, which was due for revision in 2012. Several committees set up under past administrations, chaired by Wale Babalaken, Muzali Jibrin, and Nimi Briggs, failed to deliver a final agreement. The breakthrough came under the current administration, which inaugurated the Yayala Ahmed-led renegotiation committee in October 2024. An agreement was reached about 14 months later, focusing on improved conditions of service, funding, university autonomy, academic freedom, and broader reforms to reverse sectoral decay, curb brain drain, and reposition universities for national development. A major provision of the agreement is the upward review of the remuneration of academic staff in the federal universities by 40%, with effect from January 1, 2026. A prominent ally of former Governor Ralph Aregbesola in Osun State, Wale Alabi, led hundreds of supporters back to the All Progressives Congress (APC) on Wednesday, marking a significant return for his faction known as the Blue Movement. Addressing supporters in Osogbo, Alabi clarified that his group had not officially left the APC, but merely functioned as a caucus within the party. He expressed confidence in the group's electoral strength, assuring that victory was certain. Alabi, however, criticized the current state administration, claiming that they are incompetent and wasting resources despite allocation released to them from the federal government. Receiving the returning members, the APC's governorship candidate, Bola Oyebamiji, remarked that the Blue Movement consisted of dedicated APC members who were stepped aside during the 2022 governorship election. Oyebamiji urged party members to collaborate with the Blue Movement, maintaining that they are integral to the party's goal. The Super Eagles' quest for a fourth continental title at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco came to an end on Wednesday after a 4-2 penalty shootout defeat to the host at the Prime Moulay Abdallah Stadium in Rabat. Despite struggling for last spurts of the initial 90 minutes, which ended goalless, Nigeria managed to stretch the host into extra time before heading into a shootout, where 2 missed kicks proved decisive. With Captain Wilfred Ndidi suspended for the semi-final due to accumulated yellow cards in the round of 16 and quarter-final, Coach Eric Shelley handed Rafael Onyedika a second start, while the rest of the team from the quarter-final win over Algeria remained unchanged. Unlike their previous outings, Chelsea's men failed to settle from the blast of the whistle, struggling to keep possession and contain the hosts in front of a packed stadium. Nigeria managed only 2 shots overall, while Morocco nearly landed a decisive blow late on through Nel El Ayinu, whose long-range effort in the stoppage time was struck too close to the Nigerian goalkeeper. For Nigeria, they are the side with the most bronze medals at the AFCON, having won 8, and they will face Egypt in the 3rd-place match on Saturday. And now on the foreign scene, Ukraine has declared a state of emergency in the country's energy sector, with a particular focus on Kyiv as ongoing Russian strikes continue to leave thousands of residents without power. President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Moscow of deliberately exploiting the harsh winter conditions as part of its war strategy, with overnight temperatures in Kyiv recently dropping to around 20 centigrade. The declaration comes as Zelensky's U.S. counterpart, Donald Trump, said he was holding up efforts to secure a peace deal to end nearly 4 years of war with Russia. He told journalists on Wednesday that Ukraine is less ready to make a deal than Russian President Vladimir Putin. Ukraine has declared its state of emergency in the country's energy sector, with a particular focus on Kyiv as ongoing Russian strikes continue to leave thousands of residents without power. Trump and Zelensky are both expected to attend the World Economic Forum in Switzerland next week, although Trump suggested no formal plans were arranged for them to meet. In recent weeks, Russian attacks on Kyiv have left thousands of homes without regular power, heating, or running water. After one particularly heavy night of missile and drone attacks last week, 70% of the capital was left without power for several hours. Following a special cabinet meeting on Wednesday, Zelensky said a round-the-clock task force will be set up to fix damage caused by Russian strikes and worsening weather conditions. And now to end the news, here is a recap of our stories. We told you that the federal government has directed all banks and fintechs to collect and remit 7.5% value-added tax on certain electronic banking services, effective Monday, January 19, 2026, according to an email notice issued by payment platforms. We also told you that the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities on Wednesday unveiled a renegotiated agreement aimed at resolving long-standing disputes in Nigeria's tertiary education sector, resulting in incessant strikes and closure of universities. A prominent ally of former Governor Ralph Aregbesola in Osun State, Wale Alabi, led hundreds of supporters back to the All Progressives Congress on Wednesday, marking a significant return for his faction known as the Blue Movement. The Super Eagles' quest for a 4th continental title at the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco came to an end on Wednesday after a 4-2 penalty shootout defeat to the hosts at the Prince Moulay Abdullah Stadium in Rabat. Lastly, we told you that Ukraine has declared a state of emergency in the country's energy sector, with a particular focus on Kyiv, as ongoing Russian strikes continue to leave thousands of residents without power. That ends the news on Esteem Radio Vision, Elisha, Osun State, Nigeria. The news was edited by Afolabi Adenikpekun and was brought to you by Chidima Abel. For sponsorship and advert placement, please contact us on 0916-634-9956. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms, on Facebook at Esteem Radio Vision, on YouTube at Esteem Studio. Thanks for listening. Good morning.